Hello, I'm Andy Agathangelou and I'm very proud to be the founder of the Transparency Task Force. I set up the Transparency Task Force as a result of a speech I gave at Senate House, London University on the 6th of May 2015. The speech was all about the financial services sector, an industry that I've worked in for the last 30 years and an industry that I know very, very well, perhaps too well. My speech was simply about the idea that the financial services sector has to be trusted for it to function effectively, but it's not. And the reason it's not trusted is that on a routine basis, the financial services industry misbehaves through mis-selling scandals of one kind or another, malpractice, malfeasance, and so on. In fact, if you think about it, the global financial crisis itself was simply as a consequence of extensive malfeasance in the banking sector. So I explained to the audience at that particular event why I thought that it was absolutely vital that the financial services sector regains its trustworthiness and regains its integrity and its credibility. I explained that unless this happens, we will end up in 20, 30, 40 years from now with a financial services sector that is so distrusted, people won't use it. They won't save, they won't insure, they won't build their pension plans properly. And I could see this becoming a major systemic risk for 20, 30 or 40 years from now. I decided as a consequence of the feedback I got to my talk to spend a few hours on a purely voluntary basis building support for the idea that the financial services sector needs to change. And what's basically happened since then is that I found myself spending more and more time on this project, and it's gradually taken over my life. I closed down my consultant company and I'm now pretty much full-time building and growing the Transparency Task Force, and I'm very proud to be doing that. It's worth noting one or two things that I've managed to achieve with very, very little resource since then. I've built a community of over 350 people. That's come about as a consequence of the 23 conferences that I've run. People have come up to me after, explaining that they want to help me. These are typically experienced, seasoned financial services people who are honest enough to know that there's a lot in the sector that needs to change. A great deal of reform is necessary. I've also been publishing my online magazine, The Transparency Times. Initially, this just went to a few dozen people, then a few hundred people. It now goes to over 10,000. I've held 3 very special meetings at the House of Commons. I've engaged with politicians and parliamentarians and with regulators from the Bank of England to the Financial Conduct Authority to the Pensions Regulator and so on. But perhaps the single most important thing is that I've managed to build a collaborative campaigning community that are working hard with my leadership to influence the rules of the game that this financial services sector is run by. I'm very, very proud of what I've achieved so far. I'm absolutely determined and dedicated to fulfill my role in helping to reform and clean up the financial services sector. But it's very clear to me that perhaps the biggest thing I've learned over the last 3.5 years is to ask for help. I can't do this on my own. And that's a message that my volunteers get. And I'm hoping that's a message that A Million Realities will get as well. Because I can't think of anything better for my cause and my project than to have the proper support of A Million Realities, helping to take my dream and helping me to turn it into reality. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.